everybody, and welcome back to Andy's Dinosaur Reviews. Today we will be reviewing this, a beautiful PNSO Triceratops. Now, something I want to bring up right away about this model is that a lot of people, and including eBayers, people that list this for sale on eBay, have a tendency to call this thing Dolly. It's not Dolly. Or at least when I received it, up until when I received this dinosaur in the mail, I assumed it was a Dolly as well, because that's what everybody seemed to be calling it. But unfortunately, it's called Doyle. Now, I don't know if people thought that maybe it was supposed to be a female Triceratops and it was Dolly, but I guess it's a male because the box says Doyle. So I guess this is Doyle, everyone. Doyle the PNSO Triceratops, straight from China. This model, what I thought originally would be one of my favorite PNSO models for sure, actually turned out to be not one of my favorite. I mean, it might actually be one of my least favorite. Not saying that it's bad by any means, because really it's not. It's a very nice looking model, but PNSO does such a great job on most of their models that I felt like this one kind of just wasn't quite up to their standards, maybe? I don't know. Maybe it was just because I got it right after I got Wilson, the T-Rex, and in my opinion, the T-Rex Wilson looked so close, so similar to their prototype pictures when I got him in the mail. I didn't feel like he really looked too much different. He looked really, really good. Now this one, as far as the prototype pictures go, I feel like the paint job on mine, at least, I don't know if any of you other people have this out there, but my paint job wasn't near as good as the prototype. Now that's something that you tend to have when you are in the dinosaur figure business. I mean, especially with companies like Taobao, I feel like their actual released figures never look quite like the prototypes do. But when I ordered Wilson, he really came looking pretty much just like the prototype. But this one, let me take him off of his base here. Oh, if I can get him off the base. Now half the time he doesn't even want to stay on it, and today he doesn't want to come off. But you can see the paint job here is kind of, I'm not really sure how to term it, light. I feel like they didn't put as much into the paint job as they did in the prototype. The prototype had a lot darker of a paint job. I mean, my right side of my figure is a little darker than the left. I never actually noticed that. I don't know why that is. You can see the lines and stuff are significantly dark on the right, not near as dark on the left. I mean, it's not a huge difference, but it's not so bad. But either way, I feel like the prototype picture looked a lot better, so I was kind of expecting more as far as the paint job on this one goes. But it's not a big deal because regardless, it is still a beautiful figure. Another one of the things that I do not like, however, about this figure, might as well get the stuff I don't like out of the way right away, is as much as I would love to have herbivores with the articulated jaw, I feel like the articulated jaw on this Triceratops just kind of makes them look a little ridiculous. I mean, it doesn't look terrible, and the detail in the mouth is pretty nice. I can say that for sure. I mean, it's got the teeth on the top and the bottom, which is really cool to see. And it's also cool to see that they are, in fact, doing articulated jaws with herbivores, but I just feel like Triceratops probably shouldn't have been one that they did it with. But, I mean, that's just my opinion. To each his own. You may think otherwise. I always pose this model with his mouth closed, because with his mouth closed, I feel like he looks a lot better. Now, the other thing that I dislike about this, again, let me pull him off the base, is right here from his eye. I'm not sure how well you can see it, but especially now that I blocked the light a little bit, from the eye down here onto the horn is an obnoxious seam. It's just like a strange line of extra plastic, and I don't know why it's there, and I really wish they hadn't done it, because it kind of really, it takes away from the face of this model. I really feel like it kind of dropped it down a little bit in the way I like it. I would have liked it probably a lot more without that strange seam on the head there, on the horn coming from the eye. But okay, on to the things I do like. Regardless of the paint job not looking quite like the prototype, I still feel like it looks very, very nice, just not as good as it should have. It's still really well painted, especially the frill looks very cool. With the different colors there, there's some red and a little bit of white and some yellows and all sorts of stuff there. I feel like the color scheme that they chose was pretty realistic looking. I mean, it's nothing crazy off the wall, so it looks pretty good to me. Again, it does have the articulated jaw, which is appealing to some, not so much to me. My horns here on it have a few paint chips, and it came like that. But I mean, they're not huge, so they're not super noticeable. I mean, it's Triceratops. Maybe it was just doing battle with somebody. I don't know. It's not that big of a deal to me. Another thing about it is a newer thing that people have started to do with herbivores like Triceratops and ceratopsians of all kinds is put little quills, or whatever these would be called back here, almost like light feathering coming out of the back. I'm not really sure what they're called, but that's a newer thing. I know Collect A started to do it, and now PNSO, well, before they went under, was doing it, which is just, it's a different take on a Triceratops, so it's kind of cool to see. The detail all over this thing was super well done, as PNSO always does with their models. I think the scales and the little bumps all over the back, everything was just sculpted incredibly well. It looks beautiful from any side that you pose it. PNSO is fantastic with their sculpts. Again, from this side, actually, you can really see how awkward the articulated jaw is. It's not terrible, it's just something about it, just doesn't do it for me. I don't know why. You could take him off of his base. He goes on the base with a little peg right here that goes up into the foot. You just slide the foot on the peg and he goes in quite nicely, and he's fairly sturdy in that position. He's not like super wobbly, doesn't fall off a lot. He does tend to get loose when I try to pick him up just by the figure. He'll fall off the base, but I guess you probably shouldn't do that. I just have a habit of doing it. The base looks pretty cool. Some nice little mud here and there, and some, I guess that would be like a mossy area with a tree sticking up, an old dead tree, some tree branches here and there. They did a fantastic job on the base. A lot of time just went into the base alone. Really, really looks good. So that's another plus about this. Unfortunately, as I said in my Memenchiosaur video, is that PNSO, I believe, now has folded. They are no longer in business. There was some kind of big dispute that went on, and they ended up closing their doors. I don't think anything has been officially announced as far as I know, but I do believe that they are now closed. So if you do want to get this, it's probably good if you would get on buying it sooner rather than later, before people get the actual notice that they're closed and start to skyrocket the prices, because I'm sure that'll happen at some point soon. It always does when they find out things about this or things like that. As far as size, I would say it's about just a hair under 10 inches long. Height is about 5 inches. So it's a nice, decent sized figure, not too big, not too small. Looks beautiful, and it poses very well with Wilson the T-Rex. Bring Wilson in here. He falls off of his base. Wilson does not want to stand up in this spot. As I said, very cool little diorama you could make. They look absolutely awesome together. Wilson is also a fantastic figure, which I will definitely get to reviewing very, very soon. Probably sooner rather than later, because I do like it as much. Well, actually a lot more than I like this Triceratops, and this Triceratops isn't half bad at all. So this thing retails for around $60 to $65, I believe. You could probably get it a good bit cheaper if you go through Acroman with Acroman's Chinasaur store, which I will put a link to in my description. So again, if you want this figure, get on ordering it soon before PNSO actually announces that they are out of business, if that's what actually ends up happening, which I think it is going to happen. Sadly, because they had some awesome figures that were going to be coming out. Yes, so please like, subscribe, comment, all that fun stuff. I do love to hear from you guys, and I will see you guys in the next video. Thanks for watching.